Hello, beloved ones. It is wonderful to be here with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about solutions to problem relationships. All right? So these are solutions that can be applied to any kind of relationship, whether it's an acquaintance, a working relationship, a family relationship, a sibling or child-parent relationship, and especially in a committed romantic relationship. All right, these are all solutions that work for each of these types of relationships. And the biggest one that these solutions will work with is the relationship you have with yourself. So, let me begin first by saying that when you feel you have a problem relationship, and this can be applied for a problem within a relationship, but this is ultimately more geared towards those relationships you feel are problematic on the whole. So the first and most important thing to remember is that the very vast bulk of effort is going to be made towards yourself. That you are going to work things out with yourself before you ever present your needs or the desire to seek solution with the other person, all right? And if the problem relationship is with a very young child, then you're going to have to be the one to do all the work. Right? So, when you are involved in a problem relationship, it's so easy to feel that the other person is the problem. If they would just stop doing this, or if they were better at that, or if they could just do this a little better, then everything would be fine. But that has some truth to it, of course, because everyone has their issues. But what tends to happen in problem relationships is that one or both people involved are afraid to speak about what they need, what is okay for them and what is not okay for them. So the vast majority of problems that occur in relationships and build up in the relationship so that all the problems then create a problem relationship is based on unhealthy boundaries, right? People that have very little understanding or concept of what boundaries really are tend to struggle the most in relationships. So I like to look at boundaries as very simplistic, right? I don't want to complicate this, but there's lots of information out there that can help you dig deeper if you wish. But in essence, your personal boundaries are what's okay with you and what isn't okay with you. And it is important to understand that most people, if you are one of those people that struggles with self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, there's this underlying message inside or belief that says, well, what I want or what's okay with me, what I need, isn't as important as what other people need and want. Or my needs are not important because I'm not important, right? There is this underlying feeling. So that's the first thing you have to address. So you step back from the problem relationship and you ask yourself, are my needs equally as important as the other person's needs? Because when you don't feel that your needs are important, always, always, beloved ones, that breeds resentment. And when you are placing other people's needs more above your own, then the resentment begins, and then their needs aren't important either at some point. You just become overwhelmed with resentment. And the resentment becomes so strong that then they're not important. And all of a sudden you recognize that your needs aren't being met and somehow it's their fault. You see how this whole thing starts to twist around. And therein lies the problem. Knowing what your needs are, knowing what's okay for you and what is not okay for you on every level, materially, physically, sexually, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all these things, even energetically. And if you're a highly sensitive person and an empath or one or the other, then absolutely your energetic needs are almost more important than any other need in your life. So once you establish what's okay and what's not okay in these different arenas, then you are much more able to say, okay, so this dynamic between us, there are parts of it that are okay with me, and there are parts that are not okay with me. So it's important then to take that next step once you have established and open a dialogue with that person, right? To say, we've been going along in a particular way and it has become problematic for me. And I've figured out, maybe this is the first time in my whole life, I've started to understand what's okay and what's not okay. So here are some things that are not okay. Or even better, start with what is okay, right? So these parts of our relationship are working great. And I love them. I love this, I love that part, how we interact this way and that way. But here is some things that are not okay. And I want to ask you, are you interested in exploring this with me? And to ask the other person, well, what's okay for you and what's not okay for you in our dynamic? When you ask questions, when you open a dialogue, when you come to the discussion in an open, loving manner, all of a sudden there's so much possibility for a solution, for figuring things out together, for working together. You present the possibility of balance, of healing, right? But when you come in an accusatory manner, that it's their fault because they're not doing X, Y, and Z, and that's what's creating the problem, then, like most people, the other person goes on the defensive, and then it's almost impossible to work anything out. It's a risk speaking up, And for some of you, I know that that risk feels so high and it can be crippling. And you think, well, I'll just get out of the relationship, whether it's working, I'll go get another job, or I'll just stop contacting that friend, or I'll just break up with this person or divorce this person. It seems like the easier way out to stay silent. But every time that you do, there's a little piece of you that dies inside. Because the terrible irony is that when you are afraid to speak up about your needs and to ask what their needs are, because if there is love between you, or respect or honor between you, it's so wonderful to feel that you want that other person to have their needs fulfilled too. That you're sort of in this together. It's not just you or that person, but it's a we, right? When you don't speak up, when you don't honor what's okay for you and what is not okay for you, you end up manifesting the very thing you fear by speaking up. Most people are afraid to speak up because they're afraid of losing what they have or not getting what they want. But look back on your history in relationships. If you are in a problem relationship right now, is it familiar? Are you repeating patterns? So to begin, sit with yourself and write all those things down. Don't just think about what's okay and what's not okay in all the different categories that you live your life through. Write them down. You don't have to write pages upon pages upon pages. Just make some lists. Even if what you put is not okay, is something that would probably never come up. But there's something about giving yourself the opportunity to say, this is not okay. I probably won't ever run into this in my life, but I know for me, it's not okay. So if I did ever run into this, or this was asked of me, I could say, no, that's not okay with me, with confidence, and to feel good about it. So this is an exercise of empowerment. And start small within the problem relationship. Address small things. Come to them. Can we talk about something? I've recently discovered that this particular dynamic, this specific small thing between us, is not okay for me. Is it okay for you? Whenever this happens between us, how does that feel for you? Because I'll tell you how it feels for me. And if you find that there are things that are just not okay, then you start saying to the other person, this is not okay. And if it happens again, then these are the consequences. Right? So you set up boundaries, right? You make very clear. So people know that if they are late too many times to meet with you, you're going to leave. You're not going to wait. You give it a certain window, and after that window, you get up and leave. That's the consequences. But you're clear. You're adult. So everyone knows that their being late is not a punishment to you, and your getting up to leave is not a punishment to them. It's simply about what's okay and what's not okay, and sticking to that for yourself. This is how you get out of victim mentality. This is how you rise above, move beyond those things in relationship that you feel are trapping you, that you feel bound by them or smothered, suffocated. This is how you start to break out. And please remember, start small with the small things and gain your own confidence in stating what's okay, what's not okay, what you need. And when it comes to small children, you have to identify what your needs are. And you have to find a way to meet them, because the child cannot do that for you. And the child has a lot of needs that must be met in order for that child to be healthy, happy, to feel loved and safe, and all the wonderful things you want to give your children. So as the adult, you have to discover what's okay with you and what's not okay with you, and provide that for yourself. You ask the other adults in your world to help you, to support you in providing that, but you have to figure that out for yourself. No one can do that for you. And if you find, beloved ones, that this type of dynamic with you not speaking up is crippling for you, please seek help with a professional that knows how to work with boundaries, that can help you slowly, safely, lovingly build healthy boundaries within yourself, how you treat yourself, and how you allow others to treat you, and how you treat them. So you learn to honor their boundaries, right? So that you can encourage healthy boundaries in others by having them yourself. And if someone cannot or will not honor what's okay for you and what isn't okay for you, then it may be time to leave that relationship behind. And that's all right. But best to be honest up front, to work through it. And then, if it is not meant to be, then you move on. But try not to move on before you practice your honesty, before you try to work things through with their needs being met, your needs being met. Because if you do, you tend to sell yourself short and you give in to the fear inside of you. There is so much courage in you, beloved ones, so much. Trust that. Trust that what's okay for you and what's not okay for you matters. These things matter because you matter so much. I believe it, I know it. So keep asking me for help. To say, Mother, please help me to know that I'm all right today, just as I am. And I will pour my loving grace into you, and you will receive as much as you will let me give to you. So stay open and remember that I love you. Namaste. Hi, it's Danielle, creator and founder of Beloved Publications, your home of Mother Mary's teachings as they're channeled through me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel and leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. If you're interested in more of Mother's teachings, please visit our website, www.belovedpublications.com. And there you'll find lots of great ways of connecting with Mother. And if you want to join our community, you get an awesome free mini course on preparing for and connecting with your spirit guides. You will love it. So I hope to see you there soon. Thanks so much.